Hey y'all.
Hey y'all.
It's the Thaunties. And it's Thauntie Thursday.
Yeah.
And as you see, we got a fox in the hen house. And he brought some liquor.
If y'all paid attention, we kind of turning y'all on to some things that's happening in the city.
Yeah. We hope y'all drinking good out there for real.
Real good.
So, but thanks for tuning in. Like we do every week, we are the Thaunties, a talk show from Louisville, Kentucky. A lot of people ask, what is a Thauntie? Yeah, so a Thauntie is a term of endearment for a mature, confident woman with a turn up in her spirit.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, every day. Turn up. And I'm your girl, Buns.
I'm Mika J.
And I'm Foxy.
And this is our special guest, Edward, from Guicy Brands.
Whoop, Guicy Brands.
Juicy Brands.
Edward, I'm so glad to have you here with us
Right.
today.
So, Edward, tell our audience what you do, who you are. Give us an insight into you.
So my name is Edward Williams. Thank you for having me on the show. First and foremost, I certainly appreciate the opportunity to really be able to communicate and connect with you all's audience. And y'all show is just so dope.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming on.
Yes, I appreciate being here. But I created a company called Guicy Brands back at the beginning of 2023. And so Guicy Brands is a beverage company. And so we produce ready-to-drink wine cocktails as well as flavored enhanced waters.
Which is amazing.
Look, y'all, we already broke it open
This
already.
is amazing.
So good.
Yes.
This is a cherry coconut splash.
Very good.
So this water is super refreshing.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, so how did you get to the point of making Guicy Brands?
Well, and so that's a great question. So I actually kind of started working in the industry back, about 11 years ago in 2013, as it were. And so I'm originally from the Cincinnati area, so let me mention that as well.
Shout out to the 513.
CNC 513, right?
Yes,
513.
I know that area code.
502. I'm very, very happy to be here. Louisville has been wonderful for me, and so I've been doing things in and around the area from an entrepreneurial perspective for about the past 5 years. And so I really, really love Louisville. Louisville is near and dear to my heart. But I started with this company called Markel Benai Fine Wines back in 2013. It was really kind of a chance meeting. I met these individuals. I used to be what's called the nightlife guy. I was a nightlife promoter back.
Something like a party.
Something like a party, exactly.
Something like a hype man.
Something like a hype man, exactly. Something like a hype man. And I used to do some of this sort of thing at the nightclubs as well. But I met these guys, and they liked kind of my personality and the manner in which I was interacting with the folks at the event. And so one of the owners, a guy by the name of Greg Markel, reached out to me on Facebook and said, hey, we just introduced 2 new wine products to the market, and we're looking for someone to help us promote them. And you seem to have a following in the city, and you seem to kind of know your way around marketing and promotional things. And so I said, yeah, I'd love to. And at the particular time, I was doing some broadcasting, some marketing, advertising, promotional types of work. And so I had a plan in terms of how I could help them to introduce their wines in the market. And since I was doing events, I really felt the best way for them to connect with their audience was on kind of a one-to-one and a one-to-many basis through these social entertainment events. So I created a series of events for them where they could introduce their wines to a large audience, socialize with them, talk about themselves, talk about their background, talk about the wine, while also allowing their audience to taste the product. And so it went over famously. We did an event, which I still literally do today, called Sip, Savor, and Socialize. And so these were networking events that basically brought people into a space where they could taste their wine products. And so we had some food, we had some live music, some entertainment, all the different things, obviously, that, kind of create this social entertainment environment. And folks tasted the wines, they loved it. Obviously, they wanted to find out where to purchase it, which led them to stores and liquor stores and all the different places where they were distributing the product. And so over the course of those years, I traveled around the country with Markel Benai. We did wine festivals. I mean, in some of the greatest venues, we did a wine festival in 2019 at the Essence Fest. And of course, I'm sure you all have seen Girls Trip.
Right.
We love the Girls Trip. All that.
What year was that we went? When did we get?
Yes.
2018.
Okay, so 1 year you missed it.
Yes. And so 2019, we did the Essence Fest, introduced the wines to a lot of folks, our target audience at that particular time. Then over the course of a handful of additional years, we were in DC for the Black Wine Fest.
Oh,
We were in
nice.
New York for a big wine festival there. And so we traveled around to a lot of places that were really promoting and had specialized interest in wines that were created by a minority-owned company.
Love it.
Yeah, and so we did an awful lot. And then in 2021, we kind of reached that pinnacle of success, if you will, in terms of we were able to develop an opportunity with Kroger. And so when I say we,
Oh, okay, the
Kroger,
company.
yeah. Yep, so Kroger is based in Cincinnati, which a lot of people may or may not know. They have grocery stores literally all around the country. I think they're the top 3 in terms of grocery store retailers. And so developing an opportunity for Markel and I to go into Kroger stores was huge because now it put them on the stage and in a platform where they could reach their audience in a much more widespread way. And so what started out as just doing some sip, savor, socialized wine tastings ultimately evolved into an opportunity for them to go into Kroger stores so they could really connect with their audience a lot better. And then I had the idea for this. And so I started Guicy Brands in 2023. I always wanted to do something on my own. I had the idea in 2019, didn't launch it. I was really entrenched with Markel Benai. But everything grows and everything evolves. And if you're not growing, you're dying. And so I felt like at the time that I was kind of stagnating with what I was doing with Markel Benai, and I knew I wanted to launch my own product, and I had a plan. And so we kind of talked about this a little bit before the broadcast. And so over the years of all the work that I had done, I said, okay, let me do some research. Let me figure out how I want to enter the market, and then let me launch my own product. And Guicy Brands is a result of that. And so I'm quite happy.
Well,
that's something to be excited
sipping and savoring. Can we sip? Real
Absolutely.
Quick? I need my glass.
Let's sip a sip.
My glass is light.
I want to try this berry.
supposed to be
I
Okay.
want to try.
Okay, so tell us so what she got?
Berry best, right?
Yes. And so
Berry zest.
That is a strawberry lemonade flavored wine cocktail. And so just to kind of give you a little bit of background, these are all wine cocktails. And so what that means essentially is it's not like a traditional fermented wine that's kind of grown in a micro winery or a barrel. These wines have actually been rectified, if you will, because that's the term in Kentucky. And so I've taken spices, purees, extracts, and added them to a white wine or a red wine in this particular case to create this new flavor. And so kind of came up with these names based upon some drinks that I like. So there's strawberry lemonade, which is the berry zest, which has kind of a strawberry lemonade flavor, similar to like a Simply strawberry lemonade. There's a raspberry lemonade flavor. There's a blueberry lavender Merlot flavor. This is a tropical bliss, which is hibiscus passion fruit. We've got lemon lily zing, which I know is a weird name, and you would never guess what flavors are in here.
Yeah, ginger.
Lemon and ginger, yes. So there's actually some ginger. Some ginger.
Oh, wow,
so
okay.
some natural
So
ginger.
that should be healthy.
Yep, exactly.
And
A nice little ginger shot.
Yeah. Vanilla peach, mango.
Ooh.
Yeah. Lots of really, really cool flavors. I wanted them to be fun and flavorful and fruity. And I know that's probably,
No, that was perfect.
but I don't want the Rainbow Coalition to, get us and stuff. If we say fun and flavorful and fruity, I want to say,
We talking about the wine. It's fun and fruity.
Thanks,
That
guys.
is too funny.
Yes.
So, what is your favorite?
Woo, that's a loaded question. And people ask me that. And I'm biased, obviously, because I took the painstaking time of tasting, and I said painstaking because I was sampling and tasting and sampling.
Just
and
drunk.
Yeah, well, it was so hard on me. It was so hard to taste and sample and taste again.
I bet.
Such drudgery it was. Such drudgery.
Yeah.
So hold on, I have one question.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a wine drinker because it gives me a headache. So because I know I'm not the only one, because there's something in wine that gives people headaches. Do these do that to people?
Very, very little, particularly because, as I mentioned, I use a sparkling white wine as the base. And so when you're thinking about the sulfites and the tannins that come in
Tannins.
wine,
It's a tannins.
when you think about that and the added sugar, and so a lot of times when you have sweeter wines, there's sugar additives, things like cane sugar, things like agave, just regular table sugar. And so you're utilizing all of those different things to sweeten the wine. Grapes obviously have a natural sweetness, but when you're going through the fermenting process, the longer that you ferment, then the more that sweetness is diminished. And so they add more sugar to sweeten the wine products. And that in some cases can give people the headaches, cause the digestive issues, but I don't use an awful lot of red wine in answer to your question. This is the only product that uses a Merlot, which is a red wine, as the base. All the rest are white wine.
Okay.
So I don't ever say.
So are you saying there's no sugar in these?
No, I'm not saying there isn't any sugar. And that's a great question. That's a great question. But there isn't any added sugar.
Okay.
And so what I use in terms of the syrups and the purees, for the most part, other than maybe like this mango, because I use a mango puree in this, and I'm giving away all the trade secrets. But that has obviously some more calories and sugar because it's it's actual mango. But the others, which are using the syrups and the extracts, there's not any added sugars. Now, they do
outside
use
of what's
sweeteners.
in the puree.
Yeah, outside of what's in the puree. But there are sweeteners that are in these syrups, and those sweeteners are things like sucralose, stevia, monk fruit. Some of those, and I'll say this, and I'll be very candid, I'm candid about this, some of those can cause adverse reactions in people that aren't how can I say, built for artificial sweeteners. Okay. So if you have issues with artificial sweeteners, then these products may be challenging for you. If you have, or if you're like insulin dependent diabetic, then that can present challenges whenever you're drinking any type of wine. So I always make certain these things are on the website. You want to tell people, obviously, when you're talking about spirits and alcoholic beverages, the things that can be adverse for them.
That's smart. That was nice.
But you had asked me what my favorite flavor was. I had an opportunity to think about it, and so I would say it's this Blissberry Burst, which is the blueberry lavender, just because I feel like it's a very stately wine. It's a blueberry lavender Merlot.
Grown and sexy.
Yes, it's a grown and sexy wine.
I kind of want to try that one.
Like I said, I'm grown.
And she's sexy.
So, Edward, so you are essentially a transplant to Louisville.
I am.
So you're outside, eyes looking in.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest hurdle to overcome in Louisville as far as getting into entrepreneurship?
Wow. Well, getting into that's a great question. And so the irony is that I have.
Why y'all leave me out?
Oh, because I thought you were still drinking.
Thank you.
So I've been in entrepreneurship. I've been an entrepreneur like professionally for just about 30 years. And so that would make me 37. And yes, that would make me 37. But I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. And what I see when I come to a place like Louisville is that there's a lot of entrepreneurial opportunities, but it's challenging in many cases for us. And when I say us, I mean kind of our culture and community to get access to those because we have a lot of different interests. And I never like to say that there are barriers to entry to entrepreneurship any place on the planet because we have the benefit of information now. So that's what the equalizer is.
Right.
The equalizer is information. So as long as there's information, and as long as no one is saying, well, excuse me, let me retract that. Even if someone's saying you can't come in here, now that you have information, you don't have to go in there. You can make your own. And so
I like
that's the thing. That's the thing now. When you got information, when you have an attitude to want to, and you're committed and you want to build something, you don't have to go in there anymore.
Right.
Yeah. If that's...
You can take your own avenue.
You can take your own avenue.
Yeah.
In Louisville, what I would say is there isn't enough yet. I come from Cincinnati where there's a big ecosystem for entrepreneurs.
Oh, really?
In Louisville, yeah, very, very big, nationally recognized ecosystem for entrepreneurs, particularly in tech. But I would say that in Louisville, if you have an interest in getting into the spirits industry, this would be a great place to do so.
Yeah, we've seen it a lot. So we've had Legacy Wine and Spirits on our show, Tiff Bird, we're awesome, Pretty Birdie, Coy's Wine Collection. Yeah, so one thing we do is find out.
We find the
We
drinks.
look out for spirits people. Yeah, we definitely for the spirits people for sure.
Yeah, there's a big opportunity, a big industry.
Yeah.
Not just in Louisville and in Kentucky, but across the country and across the world, really.
Right.
'Cause now it's a global economy.
Yeah.
So when I was doing my research on you, I realized that this isn't the only thing you do.
No.
So you have, what is it, the Gray collection?
So I have a beard. It's called Great Main's Beard Products. And so it is a beard and skincare line that I created primarily because I grew up having issues with my skin, particularly on my head and on my face. And so for individuals who not only have great gray hair, but also have had issues with their skin, particularly if you have a big woolly beard like mine, if it's gray, because gray hair grows and feels different than the traditional black hair. There's missing pigment, and so it can be curly, it can be coarse, and all the different things. And so I knew growing up, literally from my mid to late teens up until my 30s, I had so many issues with my scalp, with the hair on my face, with my skin. And so over the years, I've used so many products that I finally got to the point, because everyone would ask me when they would see my beard, like, well, what do you put in your beard? And I would hesitate because I use so much stuff.
Right.
I would use so much stuff. And so if I wasn't talking about, and as an entrepreneur, if I'm not talking about my stuff, then
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about your stuff so much. I do rep things. I do rep products and services and that sort of stuff that I like and that I love and that I think are great products for the market. But if it's not my stuff, and so a few months ago, about 6 months or so ago, I said, what if I did create my own product? And so that was kind of the impetus for it. And I've been using a product that was really, really great for my skin and for my beard. And I liked it. I liked the way it felt. I liked the way it smelled. My fiance loved it. And so that was, really all I needed. She liked it and I loved it. And so I took kind of their product, which I believe is all natural. And so I don't want to tout their product as one thing or the other, and I said, well, what if I made my own? And I wanted it to be natural and organic and all the good stuff. And so that's what I did. Okay. And so that's how Great Wings came about.
That's pretty dope. So now you told us before the show that you have your marketing strategy is barbershops and hair salons.
Yeah.
So have you brought in your face products or your beard products to the hair salons and stuff?
Yes, indeed. Once again, another great question. And it's so funny that you mentioned the barbershops and the salons, just because I kind of have a background. Let's call it.
Call it what it is.
Let's call it a bootleg background. Because I used to cut hair out of my living room. I used to cut hair. And so I grew up in a time when, in the early 90s, the finger waves were very popular. And the men were wearing the finger waves and all that sort of stuff. And so I used to do the finger waves.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I wasn't.
He had her.
I used to have the finger waves.
You have finger waves too, stop it.
He finger waved himself.
And don't go looking for the pictures, please.
Yes, we totally are.
Your whole high school girlfriend's gonna post
my
them.
God.
Please, somebody
Send us the pictures so we can post.
in the comments, please.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
And so when you were talking about your stand-up comedy,
Right.
I
Everyone is
Louisville
involved
Comedy
in
Club.
everything.
right? Like I was like, I called Kamika. I said, "Is he a comedian?"
I said, I just saw it too.
Well, really, I went from, when I was younger, just being real funny looking to being funny. So I dropped the funny looking. I'm still funny looking in some circles, but it's okay. As long as the one likes it,
I know that's right.
in some circles, I'm still funny looking. But so I just kind of parlayed that. I was kind of like a class clown in high school, and it was because I was defending myself. And so the look I had in the 90s, which is the look that I still have today, very prominent features, wasn't all that popular in the time that I was in school. And I'm not going to say that because I'm 37. But
It's okay. It's
okay. We get
in
it.
the 80s, it wasn't so popular and that sort of thing. And so I would get roasted bad. And so I had to figure out witty comebacks because I was like, I gotta get these people off me. They were saying things and my little ego was being fragile. And the biggest thing is if the girls are laughing, then that's a problem. So if you're trying to impress the girls and the girls are laughing, then you need to figure it out real quickly. So I figured it out. And so at 14, 15, I kind of became the class clown and, lots of jokes. But over the course of my life, I'm just very anecdotal. I love stories. I grew up listening to, these comics that would tell these very elaborate stories and things like that. And so that was always appealing to me. And so I decided to kind of go out, step outside my comfort zone and do some stand-up comedy. And so just a couple of weeks ago, I went to the Louisville Comedy Club and did some stand-up during the open mic night. And
so how was the response?
It was modest.
Okay.
It was modest. I'll say it was modest at best. I won't say that I killed or anything along those lines. I'm not Dave Chappelle. I'm not going to be Dave Chappelle.
Right.
And I don't think I'll ever follow that path. But you're playing a room when you're doing comedy, and there were like 20 people in the room, and like 6 of them were from Canada. And I don't know if they speak French or some sort of Albanian or something like that. No, I'm just playing. Canadians are cool. I like Canada. They're super cool and stuff. And they enjoy that cold weather and hockey all year round. So they are cool. But
tell us a joke.
Do one from the show. Just throw one out there. Did you come up?
I only had 4 minutes.
So was everything off the dome?
Well, it kind of. So I do a lot of extemporaneous speaking because I've spoken in a lot of environments. And so I just kind of had some concepts in my mind that I was going to talk about. And since the room was kind of populated with people that didn't look like me, the material that I had was for people that looked like me. And so I had to kind of rearrange the jokes.
That's pretty good off the top of your head when you're preparing for one set of people and then you have to do it for another.
Well, I do have a knock joke for and so once again, comedy is a wide open medium, and I don't ever want to offend anyone with these jokes. But for people that have gone through abuse and domestic, toxic types of environments, this is a knock joke for them. And so knock.
Who's there?
Who's there?
Knock.
Knock.
Who's there?
Knock.
Who's there?
Wait.
Bitch, I said open the goddamn door. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was confused. I didn't know I was supposed to say knock back or what. We said it was that. Shit. Okay.
Well, there you go. This is what happens when you come on the Thaunties.
Where's the next show?
That was a good one. So, okay, so what do you have upcoming with Guicy Brands? Or your comedy?
Right?
Or your great
your beer stuff.
No, like I said, the preface for that joke is I have an affinity for individuals who have gone through any sort of domestic types of relationships, and so that's not directed, but that sort of thing exists. But yeah, so I do an event. It's we typically do them once or twice a month. It's called Sip, Savor, Socialize. I mentioned that a little bit earlier. And so we do this event in partnership with some of the hotels. So last year we did a couple of these a month down at the Residence Inn in one of their meeting spaces.
Okay.
This year we transitioned to the Town Place Suites, which is downtown Louisville. And so we'll be hosting once or twice a month an event called Sip, Savor, Socialize, where you can just come. It's free, and you can participate or you can partake in these wines. You can sample the wines. We'll have some charcuterie there. We'll have a little bit of music, background music, and that sort of thing. You'll just kind of be able to, sample the wines. If you'd like to purchase, we'll have wine available for the purchase as well.
Is it going to be some singles men there?
Well,
is this more like a lady event?
I know, like what?
Well, we get a mixed crowd.
Okay.
We get a mixed crowd. So we have men and women, but I will tell you, and that's one of the things that I've learned in terms of being in the salons and the barbershops, particularly in our community, is that most men aren't sipping on wine or wine cocktails. Now, that's not to say that they don't like them. I think it's just based upon the way that we've been kind of nurtured and cultured that we have a tendency for harder, stronger, more manly types of drinks. Me, I drink a nice cocktail.
I would say that's.
I was gonna say
that's men in general.
Yeah,
not just black
absolutely.
men.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, but I know. I don't know. For some reason, I kind of feel like that could be maybe class because I know a lot of prominent black men that love wine and like really expensive wine.
Yeah. And you sit
And
back.
if you go to Italy and some of these other places, then you see men everywhere drinking wine. I think it's an American thing. I think it's an American male thing, and it's once again just because of how we've been nurtured and cultured here in America that you don't find an awful lot of men coming to the events. But I get lots of couples, obviously lots of groups of single ladies. And we do have occasionally a single guy or a group of guys that will come to the event because they think
They know the ladies gonna be here.
Right.
It makes sense. That was my point. So before we move on, can we try the ginger zing?
Is that
I'm gonna
the
try
one
them
you
all.
wanna
We
try?
open, we drinking.
Hey, that's what's up.
What?
All right, so what do you got in there? What's in there?
Hold on, nothing. Hold on.
Nothing.
I cannot.
She said,
Ice. Pour
all right,
up.
so this is the lemon lily, and this is a lemon ginger. And so I don't know if you're going to get much of the ginger because it kind of settles
thanks.
down to the bottom.
Okay.
OMG.
It's
I
amazing.
cannot wait to mix this with my Jack
Yes.
Daniels.
Oh my gosh!
for
now
real?
she's onto something. So
Yeah.
Jack Daniels, Hennessy, Douce, any type of cognac, any type of dark liquor, this is the perfect mix.
Oh, for
Yeah,
real?
it's a ginger beer.
Lemon
It
ginger,
tastes
yeah.
just like a ginger
So
beer.
it's like Moscow
really good.
Mule, anything that is ginger oriented that you're gonna mix.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great for mixing. The others are great for mixing as well, but different types of drinks. Most of these, because they use a sparkling white wine as the base, are more akin to your tequilas, your vodkas, and things along those lines.
So what's the percentage of alcohol in these little things?
So most of them are 10.5. So all of them except for the Blissberry Burst, which is the blueberry lavender, is this one is the only one that's 12.5%. And once again, it's because of the wine. And so it has a Merlot as the base, and so the Merlot has a higher alcohol
That is
content.
really good. I
They
like
are
that.
all really good. But we're excited. We may have to come out and sip.
I
What am I
think
doing?
so.
Sip,
When
save,
is
and
it?
socialize.
When is the next one? Do you know the date?
I don't
Okay.
have the date yet. We were going to host an event for the month of February. We typically do them on a Friday night or a Sunday afternoon. And so we were going to do one for February, but time,
Right.
and all the different things. And as you know, I'm in the salons and the
Yeah.
barber shops an awful lot on the weekend. So we've decided to move it to March. But then I have a busy schedule in terms of the other things, because I know one of you would ask in terms of what was next as far as like the beard care line, what was next as far as comedy. And so I'm kind of spread across a lot of different things in addition to my family life, obviously, which is the most important. And so everything really ultimately kind of mushrooms up to that. If it's beneficial for, the family, then, I'm kind of engaged and involved. But March is when we'll probably host the next one. It'll either be on the second Friday or the second Sunday of the month. And it'll be for a couple of hours. And like I said, I'll put some flyers out
Okay.
and that sort of thing. So you'll be able to find it on social media. I'll definitely send them to you all.
Appreciate
Send
it.
it to us.
Yes.
We'll definitely pop
I'll
up.
have you all come out. This is just awesome.
Boy, thank you. But what we like to do on Thursdays, after we get some cocktails in us, is we like to do what we call drop it like a Thauntie. And that's where we just talk about hot topics.
Hot topics.
Drop it. Yeah, we talk about hot topics. So, of course, the hottest thing right now, Super Bowl 2024. It just happened. Who's your team?
Who was your team?
My team didn't play.
Okay.
Well, you
I'm the
still got a
Dallas
team.
Cowboy fan.
Oh, well,
Okay.
you probably need to be a was. Y'all need to, if I was a Cowboy fan,
I know,
that's
right?
gotta be a lot
been
like being a
brutal.
Louisville Cardinal fan.
It's brutal.
No, they just build you up to let you down.
Yes. Yeah.
Please don't bring my Cardinals in this. Thank you very much.
So what
my
did you watch the
team
game
is doing
yesterday?
I
good thing.
did. I watched the game. I was riding with the Chiefs. So I was riding with Patrick Mahomes.
So
Patrick
you
Mahomes,
was
Patrick
winning.
Mahomes.
You
Yeah.
win. You're a winner.
Bandwagoner.
Really, I'm like I said, if it's not Dallas or Cincinnati, because I do like the Bengals,
Yeah.
then
I was gonna say how you can't like the Bengals.
absolutely. I love the Bengals. And as a matter of fact, I know some of the Bengals personally who played in the Super Bowls prior to Joe Burrow. I mean, literally like friendship.
Oh, okay.
So I know some of those guys, and so I do have a strong affinity for the Bengals and how they've evolved with Joe Burrow and with the new coach and that sort of thing. But yeah, I've always been a Dallas fan just because I grew up watching them as a kid
Right.
on Sunday with my dad. And so, we all kind of have these memories.
Everyone's a Cowboy
Yeah.
fan.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
This is true. But yeah, I liked Kansas City only because of Patrick Mahomes. And then Travis Kelce has a Cincinnati connection. I believe he went to the University of
I
Cincinnati.
thought you did.
And so so there's a Cincinnati connection. So I look at things like that because these days I don't have much time to watch other people perform because I got to perform.
In fact, did you see that Jason Kelce, the brother's wife, because Jason, he was decked out in his Chiefs. Honey, the wife wore Cincinnati. She said, what I'm not doing, I'm a Philly girl. What I'm not getting ready to do is wear it's Kansas City. She wore a Cincinnati Bearcat.
Which is dope. Which I think is
I'm gonna bring
Rep
your
your
team for when
team.
you was in school.
Right. Boom.
Yeah.
I like it.
But the Super Bowl was good. It was a thrilling Super Bowl
Yes.
all the way to the
It really was,
Yeah,
wasn't it? Yeah, it was a good
blowout.
game.
Like, it was
Yeah.
super
Blowouts are
interesting.
Yeah,
fun.
blowouts
Yeah.
are fun.
So what did y'all think about Travis Kelce's tantrum?
Well, for me, it was. It wasn't scrutinized as much if it would have been a black person. That's my opinion. I felt like it was kind of swept under the rug a little bit. And even once it was talked about today, it was more so he was just passionate.
Yeah, and I feel like it's always what it is, right? When they do it, they're passionate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
But but we're angry and
Yeah,
violent.
right. That's that's kind of what bothers me. What'd you think?
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
We're always balanced and instead of passion.
Right.
But you also, do you know her? Like she's a basketball mom.
Yeah.
Like her kids,
Oh,
her
okay,
children
nice.
are D1 athletes. But you also understand passion.
Well, yes, I do understand passion, and I get it, but I still think it's discriminated against. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
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 That was violence.
Yeah.
That was battery.
Yeah, he did grab his arm.
He
didn't
did.
He did
Yeah,
grab
he
him up.
kinda did grab him up.
He had to prop himself
Yeah.
to keep from falling.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
Yes, he had to grab him because he was gonna knock him over, and he was in his face.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right.
Yep.
And so if I were to, let's just translate this into the corporate world. If I were to get into the face of one of my superiors
Right.
Yeah.
like that
Exactly.
Yeah.
and bump them,
Yeah.
oh my God.
You're walked off
going
the
to jail.
job.
You're going to be
Walk off the job.
charged.
Yeah, you're fired
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
You're immediately fired.
They calling the people on you.
Yeah.
And that's his job.
That's his
Yeah.
job.
That's
That's
true.
his job.
And
His
you was
whole
on
job.
national TV.
On the Super Bowl.
Acting
On
a
the Super
fool.
Bowl.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I
So-
definitely think he got a pass.
For sure. And
another
honestly,
pass.
though, you kind of wonder if we know that the major pass is because of the color, but the second pass is because of who he is. He's their top receiver, right? Isn't that what he plays?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're the brand.
Yeah.
You're the brand.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying. So of course he's gonna get more of a pass.
Yeah.
A tight end. Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
Oh, yeah, that
Don't
too.
forget that.
Look.
So he has so many positives, fake positives going for him.
The non-motherfucking factor.
Non
You know, like, it's just,
But she really is.
she is.
She's a factor.
She
for
definitely
sure.
is.
Oh,
Like
for
the money that
sure.
she brings.
Yeah.
Like the Taylor effect. And I think that is
Are you a Swiftie?
evident with old boy's wife from 49ers who made the jacket. What's her name? What's that?
I don't
last
even
name?
know her name, but she's dope though.
I know. Her jackets were so cool. And that was like, so now she's
Yeah, blew
Yeah,
up.
she's all the way sold out. You'll never be able to get one of those. It's kind of exclusives. So I'll ask you as a man, would you be mad if Usher pulled on your wife like he did
Oh,
Alicia Keys?
yeah, Usher, we going at it. So I was watching it. We're watching it with the kids and with my fiance because she liked the bodysuit, and I liked the bodysuit too. I couldn't say that I liked the bodysuit, Alicia, but if you buy the bodysuit,
You just said it though.
But you just said.
No, I said I like the bodysuit.
I didn't say I like
Yeah.
Alicia.
Yeah.
He's like, dang on.
No,
this
she
is all-
looked
this is
amazing.
recorded.
She did. She looked amazing.
Yeah, like all
Edit that
jokes
out.
aside,
Edit
like
that
for
out.
real.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, she looked
Absolutely so.
Yeah.
I'm an Alicia Keys fan, and
Yes.
so yes, it was a big moment for her and for whoever the designer was of that bodysuit, most definitely. But yeah, we'd have been fighting on site, as they say, on site. I'm like, okay, I'm like, yeah. So can I get back there to Usher? I done loved him since baby he was young and stuff. I used to live in Atlanta. Can I get back there and give me the sign my boxing glove? Can he sign my boxing
Yeah,
glove?
Usher, he does the most. Like,
I freaking love it.
No, I think he gets a pass.
He's Usher.
It's Usher.
He's
Plus he pulls up on
Usher.
everybody that same
Yeah,
way.
so don't take it personal.
She's not special, dog.
Don't take it
She's
personal.
not.
Wait.
No,
Wait, I
everybody.
just have to say this.
What?
He pulls up on everybody like that.
Okay,
I ain't never
get
seen
that.
his
I get
hand on
that.
nobody else's pelvic.
Yes.
Oh yeah, because he
All
did
the
Kiki.
time.
He had Kiki's
She's
ass
not married.
almost.
She's not married though.
She had
I mean, she might have a baby daddy, but she's not married.
Okay, so help me
Okay.
understand what was the difference what Usher did with her. They are performers to actors doing the same thing in movies.
Yes.
What's the
Because
difference?
they acting.
That was an act.
That was an act.
That was a performance.
Why is real straight? He's about to get married too.
He
Like,
got married last night after the Super Bowl.
Really? Oh,
Yes.
cute.
yes, he's not thinking about
He
it.
ain't
It's
think
a
about Alicia
show.
Keys.
It's a show.
But I mean, I'm asking a man's opinion because men are really out here hurt about that.
Well, I saw a dude that posted today, and he was like, "My wife has loved Usher since we was 17 years old, and if y'all happen to see me at an Usher concert when Usher's talking about who can I bring on the stage, Wait. Bring my lady on the stage, 'cause my lady love you. He know he getting cool points off that.
Yeah.
He know he gonna get rocked at the end of the night. So it's about what you know what I'm saying?
I'm thinking about the it's a show, guys.
Right, but
It's a
everybody
show.
can't take it. Everybody can't take it.
So I would do like Eddie Murphy did. But wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's a show.
How did Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats get together in the first place?
Right. Exactly.
That ain't got nothing to do with Usher.
She is a rubber up on her.
But
She is
wait
a
a
rubber
minute.
up on it.
Maybe Usher wasn't the problem.
Well,
Maybe she liked
Alicia
it.
could have been like,
She was smiling extra hard. I think she liked it.
She probably did like
that
it.
was a good moment.
It
Though.
was a good moment.
That was a good moment.
It was an amazing show.
Doesn't have time.
I do feel like people went a little too far in calling it the best because Prince was the best ever.
Yeah.
But I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good
I like
show.
I was confused by Jermaine Dupri.
Oh my God.
I think he was
that
confused.
was so
he even
weird.
made jokes about
Everybody
himself.
thought it was CeeLo.
Hot
Yes,
take.
you're right.
That's awful.
Yeah.
She
Hey,
said no,
so many
he's
people
a
think
little
you
smaller.
CeeLo, then
Yes.
that's not good.
Yeah. I mean, the clothes, it was like,
Yeah,
Why
what
did
did
you
you
have
have
that
on?
What's going
well,
on?
I thought that it was a promotion for the new Willy Wonka movie, and it was the.
He's an Oompa
Oh,
Loompa.
he's an Oompa. What?
And
I
when
was
you
getting some
wrong
of
for
that
that.
promo money.
What if that
Amen.
really is true?
And then he flexes because he shows that the socks were Louis Vuitton.
I don't care what
But
that
those
matters.
ruffles, right?
That was ruffles.
It's not really a ruffle. It was a button. It's a pearl button.
It still is a button.
And
With a
it's
little
sweater
overlay.
material. Can you imagine how sweaty and nasty his feet was up there in them Louis Vuitton sweater socks on that hot stage dancing around? Lordy.
Well, Jermaine Dupri, like Usher, gets a pass because he dated Janet Jackson.
That is true.
He
did.
did.
Hey, we give him everything
I
credit
forgot he
today.
did.
I don't know if you really get a pass
he
for that,
had,
though.
he had Janet.
I
so
did
it's like,
forget he had Janet. So
And they still been kind of hanging out. So I think they might be
So
spinning
he,
the
you know,
block.
he can wear a lot of funny stuff.
he can wear some
okay.
funny stuff because he's real.
He can wear funny
So you
stuff
were
because he's
nicely
rich.
dressed.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, do you were saying that you typically go out like this into the barbershop?
I do. So one of the things I understood a long time ago when I started working in the professional world is that there is a certain representation that
Yep.
you have to maintain, not just as a black man, but as a man in general. And if I'm walking into an environment where there are a lot of women, I want to make certain that I'm putting my best foot forward in terms of my appearance. And so and the products that I am representing also need to kind of denote who it is
Who you
that
are.
I am.
Yeah.
And so if I'm trying to sell you a product that, like for example, this bottle, which is about 5 ounces, costs $8 or $10. If I come in there with a sweatsuit on and my cap to the back and some J's, although I might
And
look
it's,
really, really
you carrying it in a little duffel bag.
I'm carrying a little duffel bag, exactly.
Drinks for sale.
Like,
I got that juicy. I got that hot juicy, baby. What? Juicy. You want some of that juicy?
We over like,
That juicy. Yeah. I might be selling something, but it's not going to be that.
Get off
right.
Get
It'll
off
be a
around her.
different
Yeah.
product.
So I want to communicate to them in spoken and unspoken ways to everyone that I come in contact with that this is a credible product, because it's so important that our products, more than our counterparts' products, be seen and deemed as credible, because we face certain obstacles, unspoken rules about the things that we produce.
Yep.
That's
Whether they're products or services. And so we know that we are going to come under additional scrutiny by kind of our own communities. And so if I'm presenting a product that I want to be very credible, professional, and I want you to purchase at a large scale, then I want to make certain that I look the part. And so I'm not going to, and I don't have to wear a full suit. I can do a sweater and some jeans or something along those lines, but the full suit, you can never go wrong in a suit.
That's when you know he's setting on business. When he got in that full suit, when the pants match that jacket,
Right.
he's not playing.
And suits are very sexy on
I like
men.
that. I like that whole concept.
I do too.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. Have you ever considered, and you may already do this, have you ever considered having workshops, because you are very strategic in the moves that you make, even as far as, like you said, your dress, who you're marketing, the way you're going to market. Have you ever considered having workshops for other small businesses
Or
so they can have, or
Entrepreneurs,
entrepreneurs,
yeah.
so they can have a nice blueprint on what can help their business succeed?
Yeah. Once again, another great question. And yes, I have. And so, once again, without getting into all of my background, I've been working. I mentioned earlier that I've been an entrepreneur for about 30 years, but I've also been working in the field of entrepreneurial education and development really for about the past 8 years. And so I went through a program, in my opinion, one of the best programs in the country called Mortar Entrepreneurship Academy in Cincinnati, Ohio. And so the Mortar Entrepreneurship Academy was started by these 3 young men who wanted to bring entrepreneurship into our communities. And they knew that the way to build it and to grow and to scale and to build capacity was to build it on a community by community basis. And so a lot of times the businesses that we create are very lifestyle oriented. They're very service oriented. In many cases, we don't have the high percentages of tech companies and things along those lines, staffing organizations, operational efficiency organizations, process management, project management.
That's what I told you.
And so they had a blueprint for how they could help our businesses succeed while also providing them pathways to get into different types of business. And so I went through the program, and they have a pitch competition at the end of it. And I won that pitch competition, which was awesome.
You can tell.
But then they asked me to come back. They invited me to come back and actually facilitate and help to teach their course. And then I got a blessing in that they were creating a new curriculum because they had been using a curriculum by a majority-owned company. And they were creating their own. And so then they asked me to kind of help with forming the new curriculum. So I had the opportunity actually to kind of curate some of my thoughts and concepts as part of this new curriculum and help them to shape it. Yeah, so Mortar Entrepreneurship Academy provided me with an opportunity to engage with their population because they asked me to come back and facilitate. And so in teaching and training that course and then being involved in them developing their own curriculum, it kind of inspired in me the idea to do some of that same sort of thing on a broader scale. And so that's something that's in the works and in the plans. And so another thing that I hadn't mentioned, because it's like, hey, man, how many jobs you got?
I was going to say that. Are you African?
African Caribbean. So I just finished, this past year. So October, I published my first book. And then in January, I published my second book. So the first book. Yes. And so I used to be in sales. I was in professional sales and technology for many, many years, dating all the way back to like 1992.
Okay.
And
you're 37 though. It's nice.
He's on 37.
Exactly.
He's doing good.
Yep. So I was doing it. I was the boss baby. Like Jermaine last night.
I hope you weren't wearing that outfit.
I'm sorry, JD. I'm sorry, JD, but you was looking like your boss baby. And so over the years of working in technology, I began to come in contact with a lot of organizations that were really trying to figure out a way to sell. And a lot of my gift for selling was more charisma. It was some process and the way that I kind of communicated and that sort of thing. But what I learned is you can distill all that into a process, into a training. And so I had some encouragement from some individuals who I worked with who said, hey, you should think about doing X. And so in like 2007, 2008, I started creating my own sales curriculum called Cold Closing Sales Development, or Cold Closing Skills Development. And so it took me many, many years. And so the benefit of obviously technology is that it evolves so rapidly sometimes. But last year, I said, well, I've got all this content that I've written, all these videos and all these different things. And so let's take that and put that into a book, because I had the idea to put it into a book a long time ago, but I was just procrastinating. And so last year, I put all of that knowledge base into a book for sales professionals who work in tech services. And we released that in October. And so that's on Amazon. It's called Cold Closing, The Art of Making the Connection. You can buy that book on Amazon.
Nice.
And thank you.
Yeah, that is really dope.
And then this year, toward the end of last year, I started thinking about, well, what would be the way to kind of come back and create something that was oriented more toward just the everyday person who may not be in sales. And so I created a goal setting and achievement book, and it's called SMOG, and SMOG is an acronym for Small, Meaningful, Obsessive Goals. And so if you've heard of books like The Slight Edge, if you've heard of Brian Tracy's Eat That Frog, if you've heard of James Clear's Atomic Habits, there's lots of books on habits and goal setting and achievement. And so I said, well, man, I've been doing this in the sales world for all of these decades. And so I kind of came up with the concept for SMOG and released that book at the beginning of January. And so that book is on Amazon. But the basis for those books is not just to be writing books and selling books. It's to be communicating my value proposition in terms of the way that I think and the concepts that I use to be successful in different environments. And so that's the basis for exactly what you just said, some of that training and development. And so I'm still crafting how that's going to work. And I've kind of narrowed my focus because it used to be that I would get into everything. And I saw a lot of...
So your focus is narrowed now?
It's narrowed on...
That's what you call it now?
I was going to say. I do have another question.
Okay.
It's 3 things. It's this juicy.
Okay.
It's the beard care stuff. And it's my publishing.
Okay.
So those are the 3 things. Because before, if I'd came on the show about 6 years ago, you'd be like, oh, so you do paint and sips and you sell wine and then so you do roofing and and so you do audio visual design.
Because I kind of think that sometimes when we have our hands in so many things that something doesn't get the attention that it needs, so it can fail. So if you do have the one brand or the one avenue that is most important to you, what would that be? Wow,
that is a...
That's like you're asking him to pick a favorite kid.
I don't got a favorite kid. Sorry, boys.
Oh my gosh, you have a favorite kid?
I have 4 boys, and so... Yeah.
I know, it's hard. Okay.
I would say the product that I'm most excited about would be my beard and skincare.
Okay.
I would say that's the product that I'm most excited about. Now, that being said, I feel as if the product that will have the greatest impact on the world, because I'm one of those types, I want to impact the world, is the training, is the methodology. It's all the stuff that's in my head.
No, I think so too. Yeah. And you're really, from my perspective, you just seem very passionate about teaching. And so that's why I was wondering if you had ever considered doing that.
But just like a little tip from what you said though, and a lot of things I've been reading and stuff, once you have something, like you have these things going on, put somebody else over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
You put somebody else over it and then let them go with it and you just get the profits from it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And then you can focus on that one thing that is important to you.
Yes, absolutely.
And you give other people responsibilities. Yeah,
we have to be able to do that ultimately.
You gotta be able to let go.
Delegate.
I can tell you that's a great point. I will let go of this. This will be the first thing I let go of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly. Just because there's so much that's involved with wine and spirits.
When you have an entrepreneurial spirit, there's so many things you can get into.
Yes.
But you just got to be able to let go of them and let them go. You establish them. You get that good basis.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then let them go, and then just get the profits
Let
from
somebody
it.
else raise them kids.
Right. Give it to them. Enough's enough. Enough is enough.
Yeah.
But in addition to being diligent and focused and narrowing your vision and not being spread so thin, you also got to have a little fun.
Yeah.
And so what we like to do is have a little fun.
They have a lot of
Ask the
fun.
Thaunties. So typically our viewers would send us in questions or shoot it into our DM. But today, since you're here, we will ask the juicy man, Edward.
The juicy man.
The juicy man down there on
Juicy.
I know y'all saw him standing on the corner down there.
So you're in the hot seat. So we're going to ask you some questions. Have a good time.
All right.
All right, cool. So you mentioned you have a fiance.
Yes.
Have you been married before?
I have.
Okay.
Well, tell us about it. many times?
Oh, that was a good question.
Ooh, whiskey. So I've been married twice.
Okay.
Officially. Unofficially once.
Unofficially.
Wait, how does that work?
Unofficially married.
Wait, did you get an annulment?
I did.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Accepted.
You didn't consummate it.
No, we got married, but
You
then
can
we
sometimes get an
Yeah, you
annulment.
can get an annulment after the marriage. And the basis for the annulment can be if one or both parties feel they were misled in some way. Yes.
Who felt misled?
So this is also some of my live stand-up material as well. I hate that I'm about to do this show, but I'm about to do it.
He's not about to do it.
Well, she says that I lied to her on the application.
Wait, application?
Yeah, well, you know it's an application. You know, y'all got the list. I got a list about.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That application. What was the lie?
She said, she asked what size shoe you wear. I said, I wear a size 12. And so after the marriage, after the honeymoon, she said, man, it's about a 6.5. It's about a 6. No.
See, I went on we're going after the courthouse.
Because what we all
What we
gonna
ain't gonna do is that.
this ain't gonna work.
This ain't matching.
This isn't gonna work.
This is
It
not
doesn't
what
add
I
up.
signed up for.
It doesn't add up.
So I'm glad that joke
Hilarious.
works.
Yes, the joke works.
Yes, that worked. That was
It is a good
one. That was
joke.
a good one.
Yeah. So you've been married twice. You're engaged again.
Yes.
So why are you not afraid to try for the third time?
Well, so I'm an entrepreneur, and
You don't say.
as an entrepreneur,
Can't be afraid. Jump out.
Yeah.
We just jump in the boat.
now
Jump out the
the
boat.
Jump everywhere.
misconception is the myth. The myth is that we don't experience, as entrepreneurs and individuals who are risk takers, that we don't experience that fear. That fear is there in everyone with any endeavor that you're going to take on that's of magnitude. So the fear is always there. But as it relates to this individual and this marriage and this engagement, it's as simple as two words: the one. She is the one.
So cute.
Yes. And
I
so
love it.
I communicated that to her when we met.
Wow.
When we began communicating. And so for me, having learned from a lifetime of errors and mistakes and misgivings and missteps and pitfalls and pratfalls, the benefit of knowledge and wisdom isn't necessarily how well you've been taught, it's how well you apply what you've been taught.
Right.
Oh,
And
that's
so,
yeah.
and that's the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's how well you apply what you've been taught. And if your ego is too big to be able to be accountable to your own mess, one of my biggest mentor and probably my biggest fan, my great grandmother, we called her Mother Dearest, passed away many years ago. But one of the things she would ask us when we would start kind of lamenting about things that were going on with us, and she was like, what was your part in that mess?
Right. Yeah.
That stops everything, because you'd be like, ugh.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I had was she.
What you do?
What'd you do?
You know you did
I like
something.
it.
And so when you're able to sit with that, when you're able to answer that question honestly and in a genuine way and look at yourself, and that's the greatest thing that I can say I've been blessed with, is the ability to look at myself in the mirror and see who I am at that particular time for what it is, as opposed to looking in the mirror and be like, ooh, you the juicy man.
So, question. I know you can't speak for all men, but for the single ladies out here, would you say that when a man is really ready to settle down, he goes ahead and makes that be known? Like,
Yeah.
like
How long does y'all wait?
stop playing around. Like, I'm going to let you know what I'm doing right now is I'm intentionally dating you. Like, I really have intentions for you. Would you say that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And she will tell you that. She will tell you absolutely that. Like I said, from the very beginning, I was very intentional. And so you asked how long we dated. And so here's the thing about that. And it's and words are important. We are still dating.
Aww.
We are still dating. I make it a point for us to date, and we will continue to date. Like I said, I learned an awful lot from my mistakes. We are still dating, and we will continue to date until whenever I move on, because I plan on leaving before her so that she can't get married and she can't hook up with us. afterwards either.
Yeah. You definitely want
Skating
to
around.
usher, baby.
But yeah, so we actually met in April of 2022, and she came to one of my events. Her and one of her friends came to one of my events, one of the riverboat events that I had, one of the cruise and paint events. And so we had connected, and she'll tell the story in a very, very funny way as well. But we kind of connected and we exchanged social media contact information. But my events are really so intensive, I was wiped out for like a week. And so I didn't recognize that she actually followed me on Instagram until like a week later. And they say go down in the DM. And so I saw that she had followed me and I was in the DM like, oh, what are you doing? I just got a customer satisfaction survey that I wanted to have you fill out.
See, playing games.
You got a man. That's part of the customer satisfaction survey. It's related to the painting. It's a demographic.
Right.
Demographic question. It's demographic. But yeah, I told her, I said, I'd like to plan a date for us, and I would like for, and early on in our communication, because we talked on the phone for probably like a month and a half before we even met face to face. But we talked like every day on the phone, in some cases for hours, because I was in Cincinnati still at the same time, and we were trying to connect and get our schedules together, because she has a very productive schedule in her life. And so I told her, I was like, well, yeah, I was like, you're for me. I told her that early on. So in answer to your question, we know.
Yeah.
We know. Yeah. It's the point at which we decide.
Yeah.
It's the point at which we decide. Now, let me say, that does not take away in any way from the woman and her choice and her decision. But what I feel like particularly is that women are very intentional. It's like, okay,
yes.
What are we doing here? Well, it was a garage door, and then I saw a cat cutting the grass, and and you're like, what?
If he's doing that, he's just playing.
Yeah. He's playing around.
Because when a man really wants what he wants, he's just really definite about it.
Stop.
He's gonna tell you.
Stop. Make everything known, cut everything else off, wipe away any doubt, because that's the thing that I also learned about business and in personal life. Clarity is of the utmost importance.
Man.
Clarity of the utmost importance. If you're not clear, if you're confused about my intentions, then no, I haven't conveyed myself well enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and you don't want to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Well, super cool. That kind of brings us to the close of our show. But before we go, we typically every week will do a listen to your Thauntie, where we'll take a 30-second and drop a nugget of knowledge on our viewers. So we'll let you go first as the guest.
Oh, wow.
Could be any topic, whatever's on your heart.
So this is something that I've been meditating on. I've actually been meditating on it for many, many, many years. Only because, like I said, I've experienced a lot over the course of my life. So when I tell people I've lived a lot in my years, my 37 years, I say this: confession is the path to redemption. Confession is the path to redemption.
I like
it.
So make certain that you understand that in your life, regardless of what it is that you're going through, regardless of what the interactions are. Confession is the path to redemption. We all have different paths that we've taken and stuff that has happened in our life. And the other part of that is the individual who doesn't have any regrets is a scary individual.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying wallow in those regrets. I'm saying the individual who doesn't have regrets is a scary individual, because that person can be an unconscionable person. And so that's why I say the confession leads to redemption. And so when you look at those things, you can say, okay, man, I messed that up. I did this.
I gotta do better.
Right.
I gotta do better.
Right.
And then you have to commit to the action in doing it. So, so that would be it.
That was a great nugget.
That was good.
That was amazing.
I like that.
Yeah.
What do you guys got?
I don't really have anything right now. Do you have anything?
So I was just gonna touch on, remember last week about my book, Celestine Prophecy, and I was saying it's about our why. And, you mentioned like being too deep. So I kept listening, and I'm still listening. But for the most part, what I'm gathering from it is that from birth, you have a reason for the reason why you're here.
Yeah.
And the way that you find out, if you get in tune to everything that's happened to you from your life, who your parents are, what they instilled in you, it also tells you what your purpose is. And when listening to the book, I'm like, from my background, what my parents instilled in me, and how I feel, my purpose is really the reason why I went to school, what you go to school for, and all that stuff has something to do with your background and the reason why you're here. And it's all like steps. And so like I'm just finding out my sole purpose right now. And it's like helping me to get to my purpose. And it really is to help people.
Yeah.
Right.
To help people and to help be a change agent, because I really like to see people empower others and to help people change to be better, and to just let people know that you don't have to stay stagnant. You can grow,
Right.
and improve. Yeah. So it's like, okay, it's coming. So the book is still going, but I'm really interested to finish it. Yeah.
That
like
sounds really interesting. So what's the book called?
Celestine Prophecy.
Okay. Okay.
Celestine Prophecy.
That's
look it up.
But and really, you're right though, because we do all have a purpose, and so many of us never learn that purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy though, because the way it goes is like as a man that's in another country, and he's just going through different stages. But when he sits and talks to this other guy, he's just like, nothing was by coincidence. Nothing's potential. Everything.
So
everything is
that you go
intentional.
through, everything you go through, use it as a stepping stone. Use it as a reason, and think about why it happened.
And that's the hard part is sitting in. Really sitting in things and taking the time to understand why you are in that season.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I agree. Do you have anything?
Well, I was going to say, I'll touch on that, but don't drive yourself crazy because of the why I'm in this or why is this, but just kind of figure out what can I learn from it?
Yes,
what can
the
I gain
lesson.
from it?
What's the lesson
So don't
from
figure
that?
out why you're in that season because that doesn't matter because
No.
you are there. So
what are you supposed to learn from that season?
your takeaway.
Perfect. So I just want to, it's not really a nugget. I just kind of want to shout out Butch Mosby from S4S.
Yeah.
My daughter was chosen as the female student athlete for the real estate teaching program. And the fact that you decided, thank you, the fact that you have decided to instruct these young people and to teach them the different avenues that's out here and to help them understand, because that's something that we don't get is learning financial literacy, learning the importance of credit, just anything that's
and
going to
real estate
that part
at a young age.
and to teach them how they can make their way into the world. And with, like you said, with Louisville becoming, because Louisville's definitely going through gentrification in the West, it's so obvious. And for those young people to, especially her, she's just 16, to have that opportunity to get that knowledge at such a young age, and who knows what that's going to do for her in her future. But I just wanted to say thank you to you, Butch, for choosing her and for the other young people that you have chosen.
Yes,
Yes.
very
like
good.
that.
That's nice. Yeah. Speaking of thanking people, shout out to our sponsor, Kentuckiana Backyard Farms.
Yes,
Farmer Vaughn. He is instructing the city of Louisville how to create a sustainable backyard farms in urban settings. So if you're interested in that, shout out to Farmer Vaughn.
Fun.
Yeah. And then also Rise and Shine Mobile Services. If you need a ride to an event, to work, to the grocery store, to the mall,
Anything.
hanging out with your friends, don't want to be the DD, let's go. Call them out.
Love it.
Rise and Shine Mobile Services.
Yeah. So Edward, how can they find you on social media?
So every place, so a couple places. So there's obviously the Juicy plug. So it's Guicy Brands, and Juicy is spelled with a G. And so the first place I would say to go is the Guicy Brands website. That's where you can buy the stuff. That's where you buy the stuff.
Right.
So
Go get the stuff.
that's
Get some of that stuff.
www.juicy, Guicy brands, brands.com. But then everywhere else in all the social media places where we play, it's Guicy Brands. And so you can go to facebook.com/Guicy Brands, instagram.com/Guicy Brands as well. And then
I was gonna say they can do a tasting. Do you
Yes.
come out and do
Do you
tasting?
do
at
private
people's house?
tasting? Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
We've
what's
been
up.
doing those, yeah. So as a matter of fact, I have one scheduled for the 25th. We're doing a
Love
housewarming
it.
tasting.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love
You
that.
can have this experience
So you
at
can
your
do
home.
this.
Yeah.
And from now on, I'm going to be bringing the Thaunties.
Yeah.
We coming.
Yeah, we're coming. We popping up. We're gonna make it a party. We're gonna make it a
So
party.
for all of those who are signed up for the Gracefully Broken retreat, Edward is going to be on the platform with us. So you will get the opportunity to have conversations and cocktails with the Thaunties, and he will be providing the cocktails. So make sure you sign up, and
It's gonna be a party. It's gonna be a prayerful party.
Be a prayerful party.
That's right.
I mean, because Jesus can turn
Jesus
around.
turned water into wine.
He did.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
All right, y'all know how to follow us. Like, subscribe, share. Send us a cash app.
Yes.
Thank you for your cash.
Thank you for all your support. We'll see y'all next week.
The Thaunties, I love